HUD has published a Housing Choice Voucher Landlord Symposium Toolkit to make it easy for public housing authorities to plan a landlord event in their community. This tutorial will walk you through each of the steps in the toolkit. To begin with, I will provide a brief overview of the Landlord Task Force, show you where to find the landlord resources HUD has made available, and then walk through the elements of the toolkit. HUD created a landlord task force in 2018 to encourage more landlords and property managers to participate in the HCV program. HUD obtained feedback from landlords across the country through landlord participation research, landlord listening sessions, and focus groups. The Landlord Task Force created guidance documents and best practices designed to improve landlords' experience with the HCV program. The HCV Landlord Strategy Guidebook is an expansive resource for housing authorities, and the HCV Landlord Resources page has resources for both landlords and housing authorities. The Symposium Toolkit references these resources, and I will refer to some throughout this video. The Landlord Resources page on the HUD Exchange has a wealth of information, including an HCV landlord video collection and several handouts for landlords. This page is also where you will find links to the HCV Landlord Strategy Guidebook, the HCV Landlord Symposium Toolkit, and information specific to the HUD VOUCHER program. Now, let's take a look at the toolkit. This is what you will see when you arrive on the Landlord Symposium Toolkit landing page. A link to view the guide is in the middle of the page, and then templates are grouped by general planning templates, presentation templates, and communication templates. You'll also find links that take you back to the HCV Landlord Strategy Guidebook and HCV Landlord Resources page. Let's get into the toolkit. To begin with, why hold a Landlord Symposium? A Landlord Symposium is one of many landlord engagement strategies, albeit an important one, because it connects you with landlords in your community on a person-to-person level. A symposium is a platform to provide landlords current, relevant information and useful resources. It's also a chance to hear questions and concerns directly from landlords. Depending on the size of your housing authority and resources available, you might consider hosting a symposium on a regular schedule, if possible quarterly or even annually. Holding a symposium becomes easier over time once you have all of the components in place, and this toolkit will help you get started. The toolkit is intentionally concise, however the linked resources are abundant and you are highly encouraged to utilize the links in the toolkit for further details. The sections of the toolkit include event planning, materials and marketing, preparing the agenda, and evaluation. The goal of this toolkit is really to make it easy for you to plan a symposium. Let's take a look at event planning. Before you begin, it is important to identify who will be involved in planning this event. Staff have other responsibilities, and getting commitment up front is important. If possible, schedule planning meetings well in advance. Consider the unique characteristics of your housing authority. Are you a part of the city and need to get city approval for the event? Do you have a communications department who reviews materials? Are there other members of senior leadership who typically approve materials or presentations? Knowing this up front will help you plan time for keeping stakeholders informed and allow time for approvals. 2 templates are available for you to use to lay the foundation for your planning: a timeline template and an event framework. Fill these out as much as possible as you begin planning and refer to them during planning meetings. The Education and Outreach chapter of the HCV Landlord Guidebook has a comprehensive section on event planning and will guide you through considerations for each framework question. You may already have project management tools you use. This timeline template is a simple tool and captures the key milestones leading up to the event. First, estimate the amount of time needed for each step. The template provides suggestions, however, you can adjust the dates to fit your timeline. Keep the timeline visible during the entire planning process and adjust the dates if needed. Fill in high-level details of each task. More detail is useful, but having key milestones listed is most important. The timeline not only ensures steady progress toward the event, it is also an effective accountability tool for the team. Therefore, reference during each planning meeting. The event framework covers the key components of the planning process. Filling in this framework, personalized for your housing authority, will help to keep focus during planning. The framework addresses who, for the target audience, who is presenting the information, what information will be presented, how will the information be delivered, why is this event important, where will the event take place, when will the event take place, and day of event logistics. We are going to walk through each of these. Consider the unique makeup of your city or community. How does this compare to landlords who currently participate in the HCV program? Who do you need to spend time outreaching to? How does this influence the type of information that you present? There's two different ways to think about the target audience. There's current HCV landlords, former HCV landlords, and prospective HCV landlords. Second, small landlords, mom and pop, typically only have 1 or 2 properties. Medium landlords have few rental properties, but generally have limited staff. And large landlords include development or property management companies with many staff and multiple properties. Now let's consider who will present each segment of the symposium. Current staff have program knowledge face-to-face with landlords and are able to answer questions on the spot. Mid-level leadership. Depending on agency size, having program supervisors and managers who also know the program well and have some authority to answer non-technical questions. Subject matter experts. Depending on the topic, invite community members, nonprofit representatives, etc. Other community members. You can consider inviting program participants or current landlords to talk about a topic. What information will you present during your symposium? Core topics for each symposium should include a Housing Choice Voucher Program overview, program updates, and a key headline topic. Also include an opportunity for a question and answer period. How is the information to be delivered? In-person speaker-style presentation. Utilize slides to include technical information and keep it concise. In writing, utilize landlord handouts. HUD has created several handouts that are ready for you to use, or you may have your own. A virtual option. If possible, set up an option for landlords to view the event remotely. Post slides or videos of the event on your website after. Having clearly defined goals are essential to the planning process. A landlord symposium provides an opportunity for housing authorities to connect with landlords and to share information, to provide a wider range of housing options through the recruitment of new landlords, to educate on housing authority processes such as improved awareness of housing quality standards to reduce failed inspections, and to improve landlord retention through strengthening communication and working relationships. Where will the event take place? When determining the location of your event, it's important to consider a number of things. Capacity, how many people do you expect to attend? Space, what type of space? Is additional space needed for informational tables or breakout discussions? Parking and transportation. Furniture, does the facility have a sufficient number of tables and chairs? And also equipment and technical needs, such as speakers, microphones, projectors, and laptop connections. When will the event take place? As you're thinking about the date to schedule the event, avoid dates around the holidays or during peak travel times. Be mindful that many landlords have other jobs and may not be able to attend during business hours. Keep in mind the leave or work demands of participants and presenters. Some other things to consider are cyclical work demands, including first of the month or end of the month processing, end of year processes, preparing for board meetings, and etc. The final section is included on the event framework template so that you can add notes as you advance in your planning. These are all of the things you need to remember on the day of the event. Who will manage the technical aspects such as advancing slides and facilitating the question and answer period? What do you need to bring with you? For example, laptop and charger, sign-in sheets and comment cards, landlord handouts, posters, or other signage. Also, are you going to be providing water, coffee, snacks, and who's going to be responsible for that? Now we will begin to take a look at the materials you will need for your symposium. The toolkit provides quite a few templates in an editable format for you to use and adapt to your housing authority. If you prefer, you can also cut and paste content into your own materials. Here are the templates that are provided with the toolkit. They are all available on the toolkit page, and they are grouped into 3 categories: general planning templates, presentation templates, and communications templates. We've already taken a look at the event framework and timeline, and we'll review the agenda and presentation templates a bit later. Let's take a look at some of the communication templates available in the toolkit. The toolkit includes a symposium flyer template for you to use for your marketing, as shown here, and an event poster that you can use for marketing and also for the day of the event. Additionally, there are sample tweets for you to use. The other templates available in the toolkit are email templates for communicating with landlords, and also a sign-in sheet and comment card to be used on the day of the event. As previously mentioned, HUD has provided a number of resources that you can share with landlords. You might consider printing these and making them available to landlords both during the symposium or as part of your regular landlord resources. These handouts are available in English and in Spanish. You should begin marketing your event 1 to 2 months in advance. Listed here and in the toolkit are some ideas you can use to get the word out about your event. Posting and mailing flyers, utilizing electronic media such as your housing authority website and social media accounts, and reaching out to local apartment associations or other community partners. Next, we will talk about preparing the agenda. The toolkit includes an agenda template you can use and edit for your own event. The sample agenda includes an HCV overview, a program update section, a section for your headline topic, and a section for question and answers. Including an overview of the HCV program at the beginning of your symposium will allow more experienced landlords to skip this section if they want and join later. Also included in this section is benefits to landlords and details specific to your program, such as your unique procedures and who to contact. Next on the agenda is a program update section. This includes things like staffing changes, procedure updates and improvements, policy changes, and upcoming or proposed policy changes. Here, you would also include areas where you are seeking landlord input. Finally, include information about local, state, or national policy changes that are relevant to the landlord community. The headline topic. This is the main attraction. It's important for marketing purposes. It's also an opportunity to invite a guest speaker or a panel. It should be relevant and useful to the audience, and there are several suggestions for topics included in the appendix of the toolkit. The HCV Landlord Symposium General Presentation Template includes a fairly comprehensive HCV overview, template slides for the program update section, and also has slides drafted for some headline topics. The HCV Program Overview section includes detailed slides on each of these components of the HCV program. Again, you can edit any of the slides to be tailored to your particular program and put greater emphasis where it makes sense for your housing authority. The general presentation PowerPoint template includes a framework for a couple of headline topics, one of which is landlord-tenant law. Consider using a panel during your symposium and include advocates for both the landlord and for the tenant to present information from both perspectives. The administrative flexibilities section will need to be adapted to your own housing authority policies, but the toolkit provides some example ideas that would be useful to share with your landlords. In addition to the headline topics I just mentioned, there is a separate presentation template in the toolkit for the HUD-VOUCHER program. Even though HUD-VOUCHER looks a lot like regular vouchers, it also has added benefits, such as case management and landlord incentives. If your housing authority has a HUD-VOUCHER program, you can adapt this presentation to be specific to your program. To complement the HUD-VOUCHER presentation, there are several HUD-VOUCHER specific landlord flyers available on the HCV Landlord Resources page. Each of these is in an editable format so that you can modify for your specific HUD-VOUCHER program. Next, we're going to talk about evaluation. After the event, you will want to evaluate. Objectives that you defined early on in the planning process will guide you in how to evaluate the event. You should be able to answer what will you measure, how will you measure, and what benchmarks have you set. Here are a few examples of what and how you might measure. You might measure how many people attended the event through sign-in sheets or approximating a head count during the event. Of the attendees, how many people have never rented to a voucher holder? You can use sign-in sheets, including a column to check or match with your database. If you want to measure new landlords to the program, when a new landlord submits a request for tenancy approval, ask how they heard about the program. And if you want to evaluate the usefulness of the content, you can have participants complete evaluation forms or follow up with an email with a survey or a direct call survey. Another important part of evaluation is an event retrospective. This is to document your team's observations. You can use this information when planning subsequent events. Things to consider: what went well about the planning process? What about the event itself went well? Are there things that could have been done better? Was the length of the symposium the right length? Was the cadence of presentations and breaks adequate? And was the length of time allotted to presenters sufficient? In summary, the Landlord Symposium Toolkit will provide the foundation for planning your own Landlord Symposium. This is only one of many resources available to you. HUD'S Landlords Task Force has compiled many resources for housing authorities to use to recruit and retain landlords. The HCV Landlord Resources webpage contains guidance documents and best practices designed to improve landlords' experience with the HCV program. Here are links to resources we discussed today: the HCV Landlord Symposium Toolkit, HCV Landlord Strategy Guidebook, the HCV Landlord Resources webpage, and a link to landlord studies. I hope that you have found this video useful and encourage you to utilize the resources that HUD has made available for you to use.